Imagine a hulking ogre charging around the battlefield, swinging a massive sword, while also hurling mighty magic. Or a dragonborn phalanx, using mystical energy to enhance their already effective spear and shield formation. Or kobold slingers that fling bolts of freezing ice along with their sling bullets. Today we're going to discuss how to transform one of the classic blunders of D&D encounter design, monsters that only swing weapons and do damage, into a recipe for thrilling battles by using what I've dubbed spellbinding transformations. Okay, the essence of a spellbinding transformation is quite simple, conceptually at least. You basically take the stat block of a spellcaster and merge it with another creature. Let's say we have an Eton, a classic fantasy monster, and we want to jazz it up a bit. First, we find an existing spellcaster monster. Let's pick the mage straight out of the monster manual. Next, we take the entire spellcasting section for the mage stat block and we give it to the Eton. So our Eton can now cast Suggestion, Fireball, Greater Invisibility, and everything else the mage has. The final step is a bit more complicated, determining the new challenge rating of our Eton mage. There are, of course, online calculators that can help us with this if we're really concerned with making the new CR perfect, but why bother? The challenge rating system for 5th edition D&D doesn't really work anyway, so let's just use a quick rule of thumb to get this done in moments. First, we compare the challenge rating of the two stat blocks. The Eton is a CR4 and the mage is a CR6. So our new Eton mage would have a CR of at least 6 because we default to the higher of the two original CRs. But we are effectively doubling the hit points of the CR6 mage. So Eton mage would probably have a higher challenge rating. I'll just spitball it and say that it's a CR7 creature. Now, if we had been applying the mage stat block to a creature such as a CR2 Centaur, which has 45 hit points and an armor class of 12, both nearly the same as the mages, well then we'll just keep our new Centaur mage as a CR6 creature. Anyway, there we go. I now have a magically inclined Eton that will be far more interesting in combat. I would probably stick this Eton mage with 2 other Etons and call it a day. The players would be expecting dull thugs that just swing clubs, but then one of them is suddenly turning invisible and throwing around fireballs. That will be a fun surprise. You could use this quick and simple technique to turn any mundane monster into a spellcasting variant. I wouldn't stick them alone by themselves, of course. Any good spellcaster usually needs meatheads to help them out. But if you take a group of 4 or 5 mundane monsters and turn 1 or 2 of them into spellcasting variants, you're going to make that encounter 5 times more exciting and dynamic than it originally was. Now, granted, calculating the challenge rating is always going to be the trickiest part, and it's going to involve comparisons and judgment calls on your part, unless you use an online calculator. You'll also ideally need access to various monster manuals or Kobold Press's Tome of Beast books, so that you can choose from a variety of different spellcasters when doing your spellbinding transformations. Otherwise, if you always use the same few caster stat blocks, your monsters will start to feel a bit dull and boring again. By the way, if you're enjoying the information in this video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment for the algorithm down below. Let us know what you do to enhance dull and boring monsters in your games. Another thing you can do, however, is create a library of templates that you can drag and drop onto monsters to create spellcasting variants. That way, whenever you want to do spellbinding transformations, you can just consult a variety of templates and pick one that fits well with the original monster and captures a theme you may want to be going for. For instance, you may be wondering why we merged an Eton with a mage. After all, Etons are not known for their intelligence. Sure, we could have an extraordinary specimen, but if we're gonna do that, it might make more sense to target a different ability score to increase, such as charisma or wisdom. And then we'd have an Eton sorcerer or cleric. So sure, I could spend a lot more time to find a more appropriate spellcaster stat block to merge with the Etons, but then I'd be hunting through monster manuals to find just what I wanted, and have it be at an appropriate challenge rating. This is where a library of templates comes in handy. Ideally, you could choose a spellcasting template, apply it to a monster, and then there would be baked-in rules for adjusting the challenge rating of the original monster. So you could scour all the monster books and assemble this library of templates yourself. However, my team and I have already kind of done this for you if you're looking to save yourself some time and headache. In our spellcaster transformation templates, we include options for arcane casters, divine casters, and inherited casters, think sorcerers and warlocks. Furthermore, we break each high-level category of caster into sub types that all have their own special abilities. Arcane casters are subdivided into Earth mages, Fire mages, Ice mages, and Wind mages. Then Divine casters divide into Holy Divine casters, Desecrated Divine casters, and Divine warriors. Finally, Inherited casters are separated into Pact servants, Birthright casters, and Psionic casters. And for the special abilities that each gets, let's look at the Holy Divine spellcaster as an example. It can get Channel Divinity, Holy Power, Divine Intervention, and Holy Hands. These are additional features that allow them to do cool things in the game besides just casting spells. Furthermore, built into our system is an easy-to-use mechanic for calculating the new challenge rating of the spellcaster variant. Oh, and we've also included a handful of new spells, such as Baleful Flames, Frigid Sphere, and Vortex. These spellcaster enhancement templates are available right now in Conquest and Champions, the April 2023 issue of Lair magazine, which is currently available to all DM Lair patrons. You can become a patron at the link below, and you'll also get the May issue of Lair magazine, Intellect and Imagery. Now, if you're watching this video in June 2023 or later, these resources will have moved over to the DM Lair store, also linked below. Great, so you know how to slap on a spellcaster stat block or template to make a dull monster more exciting. But what do you do if you find yourself with another classic Game Master problem? You're running a pre-made module, but you have more or fewer players than it was designed for. Or perhaps even worse, their characters are at levels either lower or higher than they should be. That's why you should watch this video right here to learn how to adjust pre-made adventures to account for party size and level.